Please describe your job title and primary duties.
So I kind of went through the ranks a little bit. I started off as a busboy. I was there for a couple months, worked my way up to host, and then ultimately became a server. Being a server there, it's pretty self-explanatory. You're in charge of taking care of the tables. You take their orders. You bring them food. You bring them the drinks. You always check on them throughout their meal while they're there and kind of make sure they're all taken care of.
What was the work environment like?
All in all, it was a pretty enjoyable work environment because being a senior in high school at the time, I had a lot of my buddies who were looking for jobs too, and they ended up applying for kind of the same positions I did. Some of them were hosts. I had a couple of them that were busboys. So I was really just surrounded by a lot of my friends most of the time, so it made for a pretty fun work environment. But we also at the same time kind of had to stay serious because it was a job, so we had to make sure that we got our job done. But with the management and everything, they were kind of really understanding that we're all high school students, so we kind of aren't fully as professional as we should be yet, so they were kind of lenient when it came to that.
What was your favorite part about working there?
Oh, my favorite, the tip money. So being a server, you only made a wage of $2.35 an hour, which was after taxes. You got maybe $10 a paycheck every week. But when it came down to the tip money, it really depended on how good you were at the job. If you had really good customer service and you were great at talking and taking care of people, you would typically get higher tips, and you get to walk out with those at the end of the night. So rather than having to wait week to week on a paycheck, I could go in for 4 hours, pick up a shift, and walk out with $50-$60 at the end of it. So it was really nice and convenient, being able to walk out with my money that night.
Please describe the application and interview process.
Oh, you see, that was the big thing I kind of didn't like about it. They had a confusing kind of application process. You had to go to their website and kind of navigate through there. And I've always been kind of a paper application person, but it wasn't too hard getting to the actual application on their website. But once you did, you had to fill out this information. You had to have all your taxes and everything that you had to get handled. So it was just a little bit confusing. And then once you got the application and everything actually turned in with all your tax forms, you had to go to an orientation, which is when you could kind of just go in for an hour. They show you where everything is. Then after your orientation, you have to have your second interview. Your first interview is before orientation, of course. But after orientation, you had your second interview with the owner of the store to make sure they were comfortable that you knew everything and that you were going to be a good fit. So after the second interview, you kind of got started. And one thing I really didn't like is being a server, it's really self-explanatory. You kind of take care of the tables. You got to know the menu. They made you do 7 days of training, which is where you shadow and follow around another server who already works there, and you basically do their job for them, but they get the tip money and you make minimum wage while you're working with them. So I really didn't like the length, the duration, 7 days of training. I didn't really agree with that because I was kind of making someone else's money for them. But other than that, it wasn't too bad if you were ready to put up with it.
What questions did the interviewer ask during the job interview?
They really asked, they were interested with your schooling. They were really kind of caught up on making sure you had all your other bases covered, you were good in school, your home life was all okay. So that I kind of like that. They were making sure you're good all around, not just at work. Besides that, they kind of asked about your past employment, if you had any experience in food before, which kind of worked out for me because I had worked at Burger King and McDonald's. It's not the same as a restaurant, but I kind of was used to that employee customer the conversation that kind of goes with that, trying to make small talk and kind of make them feel they were taken better care of. So it was kind of nice having a past experience working in food with customer service.
How were you notified that you received the job?
Well, after I turned in my application, I was kind of proactive with it, and I called in the next day and kind of asked if they had a chance to review it. After that, they had set days. I think they reviewed applications Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So you have to, if you turned in an application on Thursday, you'd have to wait until the following Monday for them to actually review it and go ahead and give you a call back. Once they give you a call back, it was kind of up to you, when you were available or when you were free. They would call you in for the first interview. After you kind of went through that process, they'd say, okay, well, say you had your interview on a Monday. They would say, well, can you come in Wednesday or Thursday for orientation? And once you, if you were available, once you would go through the orientation, they'd be like, all right, well, you just have one more second interview. What kind of day works for you? So, I mean, if you had a week open and you could just go go Monday and then go back Wednesday and then go back for your second interview on Friday, you could really start within a week. But if you were a busy person, they were kind of understanding with that.
What set you apart from other candidates?
I think what set me apart from other candidates is just I've always been a well-rounded people person. I could sit down with someone and talk to them about any given topic for hours and just kind of give my point of view on it. That and I'm a really genuine person. Like some people, like when you go, especially when you go out to eat and get like a server, you can kind of tell if they're in a bad mood or like kind of how their day is going or if they're kind of like being fake nice to you. I'm really good at no matter what, if I'm having a bad day or if something's kind of off, I'm like always really genuine and I like to make sure that the customer has a good experience because that in return gives me a better tip at the end of their meal, and then the chances of them coming back in are going to be greater, so we get more people coming in, some more tables I get to serve, so it all kind of affects your wage in the end, so you kind of got to be involved and kind of invested.
What other advice would you give to a job seeker looking to gain employment?
It's definitely not going to be for most people, especially dealing with some of like the worst customers. Like are always going, no matter what you do, they're always going to be rude with you. Like you just kind of have to suck it up, keep a smile on your face, and kind of deal with their kind of crap that they're giving you. Another thing you're going to have to end up putting up with and like be okay with, because you could give someone the best possible service anyone's ever given them. Their meals could be perfect. They could never need a refill. You always keep bringing them full drinks, but they still won't tip you. It's happened to me multiple times where you'll get like $100 check and they'll give you zero. So yeah, it's happened a couple times. So you definitely have to be understanding that like your wage and how much money you make isn't set in stone. So it could vary from week to week and like day to day how much you make. So just got to kind of be prepared for that.